Hello everyone, good to see you again. It is I, David, once more with a video touching on some of the pain points that new or inexperienced DMs have been encountering. We'll get the social media stuff out of the way very quickly. I have already done 5 of these videos. The playlist is just up here, and if you enjoy this kind of content, then please do hit the like, subscribe, get notifications, because there are going to be more of these coming out. Not only that, but there's a fair amount of crafting, painting and modelling that gets done around here as well. Now that I've got that done, let's get on with today's topic, and we are talking about adversarial DMing. So what do we mean when we talk about adversarial DMing? Well, it is essentially when the DM, either deliberately or in most cases inadvertently, sets themselves up against the players, as opposed to doing realistically what their job is, which is acting as a storyteller, playing the part of the opposition definitely, but also referee. Now, if you think about it, even though you may not necessarily be into sport, you'll have been surfing through the channels and a sports match of some kind is going on. You may not have any skin in the game whatsoever, but you kind of, for whatever reason, get hooked watching it. And very quickly you can tell whether or not the referee is being biased towards one team and against the other, and you definitely start thinking, that's a bit unfair, that's not his job, they should sack this ref. Now, I mean, of course, every sports fan is under the impression that the referee is against their team, always happens, but we're talking realistically if you are having an impartial view of it. A bad referee shouldn't be doing it, and a bad DM shouldn't be doing it either. Now, that is why I do say that in most cases it is inadvertent. So very quickly, let's talk about the cases where it's not. Now, I have only ever come across one game where the DM was deliberately adversarial to the party. The guy's name was Ian. I sat in on one session of his, and it was absolutely ridiculous. The game had been going on for about 2 years, as far as I am aware, and the mortality rate was so high that the highest any character had managed to get to was 3rd level after 2 years. Come on, why would you play something like that? That definitely sounds as if the guy was on some kind of power trip. You're realistically talking about some kind of submissive dominant relationship, and that's the kind of game that belongs in another room in the house and not at the gaming table. I stayed for one session, didn't like it, the guy was being absolutely ridiculous. Didn't matter what you attempted to do, nah, I don't believe it. So that was it. One game. Bye. Now, if you've gone through this kind of thing in your session 0, and it is essentially a consensual act all around, well, go for it. It's just not my cup of tea, okay? Just put that out there. So let's move on to when it's not a deliberate act and it's something which is more inadvertent. Can anybody slip up? Yes, they can. What are the kind of things to watch out for? Well, the first is, obviously, you have to understand as a DM that there is a power imbalance there already. My mug, faded though it is, has the phrase on it, because I'm the DM, no explanation necessary. There is the old scenario of the DM sitting there and just saying, rocks fall, everybody dies. It's a possibility, but hey, it is not good gameplay. Because you as a DM can pull these kind of things basically out of your sleeve, then the power is yours, and it is up to you not to misuse it.
Remember, with great power comes great responsibility.
There you go, there's an example to run your games by. You do have to remember that the job of the DM, yes, is to be as impartial a referee as you can. So therefore, if you make a ruling, then stick to that kind of class of ruling. And if the same situation comes up later on, make the same ruling. Keep it in that vein. Be consistent. Consistency is a big, big part of it. The other point where I tend to see adversarial DMing crop in is when emotion gets involved. Now, we are, after all, human, and anybody can annoy you. If one of your players is getting shirty or argumentative, it would be very, very easy to start going just a little bit harsher on them, and then a little bit harsher, and then tempers start flaring on both sides and it gets out of hand, and you don't want that. Keep it calm. If that kind of thing starts happening at the gaming table, then just take a break, have some snacks, make some coffees, take a little bit of time out, allow things to calm down. Maybe, take the moral high ground and call the player out and say, look, things are getting out of hand, I am sorry, I acknowledge my part in this, we're spoiling it for everybody else, let's get back in there and just simmer things down, okay? There is absolutely nothing wrong with having a conversation with somebody. It may be that you have to call an end to the session because things have kind of got, a little bit past and out of control. Sort out between games, come back with a fresh perspective. It may not necessarily be any fault of the players at all. There have certainly been weeks where I have just had a absolutely rubbish time at the office, and it gets round to the weekend and I am supposed to be DMing, and I am just not in the right headspace for it. It does happen. Luckily for us, because we do have additional DMs who can step in, additional games that we can swap over to. If I know that that is a distinct possibility, then I can call on one of the other guys and say, look, can you sub in? Just let me play this one. And one of the good things about our gaming group, this is just a quick aside, is because we only play fortnightly, when everyone gets there, there's, real life to catch up on what's been going on, and you can kind of tell who's been having a hard time. It's a group of mates just, talking things through, getting things out of the open, that kind of thing. That's all really good for your mental health, and that's just a group of mates having a catch up. And then we'll finally get into the gaming. And there have certainly been times where I have not necessarily felt it, but we've all got together. I've been sort of humming and hawing about whether or not to ask one of the other guys to step in, and by the time I've sort of like offloaded all of this stuff, then I'm actually far better, in a far better frame of mind, and I'm ready to have some fun and get on with the game. That kind of catch up with friends and gaming in general is one of the things. Obviously, it's there for relaxation. It is there to take care of your mental health. Do take care of your mental health. But at the end of the day, if you've had that catch up and you're still just not feeling it, then float the idea of, hey guys, if you have alternative DMs, can one of you guys sub in, or can we play something else? I do want to have some fun tonight, but I'm just not up to DMing. That kind of thing is always an option. So, just to quickly summarise, make sure that you are in the right headspace to be actually doing the job that you're supposed to be doing. Make sure you keep things on a nice level playing field. Be consistent, be fair. If things start getting out of hand, do something about them there and then. Don't allow things to escalate. And do just remember that your job is not to be the adversary to your players. It is to be the referee and the opposition that they are there to overcome. We've already talked about things like balance, and we've talked about things like the fact that DMs are losers, and that is part of the job description. You are there to put monsters in front of your party and have those monsters killed so they can get experience and become heroes. Now, that is not to say that there is not a place for slightly adversarial DMing, and we will be talking about this in the next video a little bit. We'll be talking about railroading versus player agency, and we have talked about it in previous videos where your players have gone off script and you've had to wing it, and they've come up with really marvelous ideas that have turned them all into murder hobos. If you're being consistent, there will be rules and laws within your world. If your players decide that they are going to ignore those kind of rules and laws, they're going to flagrantly break them, then
stop, have a time,
come down hard. That is the point where, yes, you are their adversary. You're the law enforcement agency. And let's face it, the police don't mess about. If you've done something wrong and you set your lip up to them, it's going to go badly for you. If they start letting off fireballs in the middle of the town square, then get the city guard out on them. Get shopkeepers turning them away. Circulate the description on wanted posters. Suddenly things are going to be very difficult for your players if that is the route that they decide to go down. Don't necessarily just drop it on them. There are things like intelligence and wisdom rolls. In 2nd edition AD&D, there were skills like local knowledge or etiquette or that kind of thing that they can roll off against, and you can remind them, hey, this is not necessarily the best idea. If they have an NPC along with the party, then the NPC may be having second thoughts and going, guys, this is not the kind of thing that we should be doing. But if they do decide to go down that route and start being a law unto themselves, then yes, that is definitely the point where they should be expecting you to be more of an adversary than a fair referee. That is the time to start coming down hard on them. So I guess the big takeaway from this particular video is that on both sides of the fence, both DM and player, all things in moderation so that everyone can have an enjoyable game. Anyway, hopefully this has given you some insights or advice, help, whatever it is you want to call it. I will leave you good folk to your games for this time, and I will see you in the next video. Toodle pip for now.